welcome. Hold before I introduce everybody. Now I can introduce everybody. Welcome to another edition, another installment of hashtag Fade to
Oh, I'm right
Black.
on
I
time.
am your round time, right on time.
Oh, came in like Eddie Kane. Came in like Eddie Kane to Gen 5 Hot Beats. Where's Eddie? Oh. And I'm over here like, oh shit, I'm late. Bam! I ain't got no money. Ain't got
Ladies
no
and gentlemen.
fancy car.
Ladies and
Don't live the
gentlemen.
life of a millionaire.
Yo, too
See, you ain't black if you can't hear that song and instantly sing a couple bars from it. You,
That's true.
got it.
Ain't got nothing but
Just
love
hum it
for
to
you, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
that's how you start the show right there.
Yeah, most definitely.
Welcome.
Well, since he already came in like Eddie Kane, ladies and gentlemen, he may not be Eddie Kane, but he's Beach Johnson, Anita Joe, aka Teach, and Mayo, and then me, your host, Don Alabama Chambers. Welcome to the show. Today's show is, it's one of those relaxed shows where any topic is up for what's the word
Discussion.
up for debate, and we're just going to be talking about a lot of random stuff today. It's going to be a lax show, and since we talk about shows, I can't wait for Friday's show where we talk about real estate. Happy that we have two of the panelists on the show actually here who have experience with real estate, and we encourage you to tune in to the show on Friday. But other than that, let's jump in to our opening statements. Ladies and gentlemen, my opening statement goes a little something like this. It's great to have a customer. We recently just had our first purchase off our shop, which I haven't been advertising that much. And let me go ahead and put it out there for you. Hold on, if I can find it real quick. While I'm looking for, here we go. Here you go. From our shopping, Teespring, you can get merchandise like this right here. Hashtag Fade to Black cups, mask, t-shirt, which I got the t-shirt, but it's dirty. And I wish I would have had it on, but other than that, go check out our merch store as it's at the bottom, and that promo code is still good. If it's not, please shoot us a message and say that this code ain't working, and we will jump on it and fix it. But go shop, wear the merch of hashtag Fade to Black. And with that, I yield the floor to Mayo.
Well. My opening statement should be one that follows from what you just left off at. And I would say it'd be one about something I'll be doing a future show about. That's having a voice. So we talk about having a voice, but I'm talking about political voice. So having a PAC. I run a PAC, and I'm a president of a PAC, and I believe that we should all have so many of them around. In our Black community, that speaks for our community. So, if you want politics to work for you, you got to speak for your votes and your money. And when you want it to work better, is when you collect that vote and money together, and that's where running the PAC is productive. I was on the phone with the IRS for over 5 hours today, just trying to get all the trying to get more acclaim with what we're doing, and make sure I get all the legalities, make sure I'm straight, and I'm more armed with information about this. So it took a lot of my day. I normally don't like to put 5 hours into something, but today we put 5 hours into it, and then hopefully it's productive in the future. So that's what my opening statement is. Have a voice, make your voice count.
My opening statement is support your peoples. It don't take a whole lot. Word of mouth is always the best form of business and network. If they have a product, speak on it. This is an impromptu shout out and for our sponsor, Sky Zone Society. I was told that voice is funny when I say it, so I'm gonna continue to say it. Skies of Society. But anyway, you see the shirt I'm wearing right here. Yes, this is the dark Ryu. I know it's a little faded right now. I unfortunately wore it to work this morning. But anyway, this was designed by Big V from Sky Zone Society. Wore this for a video. He showed love. So any chance I get, I show love. And when people ask me where I got it from, I tell them I got it from my man Big V. Check out Sky Zone Society. That's the name of his company. You see how fucking easy that is? And on the business owner end, you see how fucking easy that is? Show love and support to a fellow artist and get him a shirt. And that nigga, in return, goes out and becomes an instant billboard. Just shy of putting his actual logo on the shirt, which is on the back of it. But I have dread, so you're really not gonna see it. Point being, support your peoples. How can you expect support if you ain't willing to support? Everything is give and take. For one thing to accomplish, one thing must be given. Call it alchemy, balance, yin and yang, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's achievable and it's quite simple. So y'all know any business folk out there just trying to get a little love and support, y'all tell them to come through. We'd be more than welcome and happy and pleasantly obliged to shout out your business, shout out your service. Show folk that black folk ain't out here always selling dope. We might sell it like it's dope, but we ain't always selling dope. And with that, I use.
Nanga Def, Manga Free. I greet you in the tongue of the Wolof speaking people. Hello, how are you? I am fine. My opening statement is in line with everyone else's, and that's the beauty of the panelists, that we come with our own individual thought, but because we're so in alignment with one another, we all have very similar thoughts. And I wanted to talk about voice as well. Voice in yourself, in your community, in the broader society. Do you have a voice? And if you have a voice, do you feel that your voice is inferior? Or does it have to be codified or verified by someone outside of yourself? Does it have to be verified externally? And these are the things that I want to talk about. Your voice and what it means to you and what it means to the greater society. And that's my opening statement.
Speaking of Sky Zone Society, oh, you good. Speaking of
I love that bass. Every time I hear that bass line, it just.
You know he's about to get down to the nitty gritty every time you hear that bass line. I'm telling you. But we like to thank Sky Zone Society for sponsoring the first half of the show. I forgot to mention the sponsors the last show, so I'm not going to make that same mistake twice. So just gonna let y'all know.
Like T said, well, we seem to have linked up like Voltron. So This is going to be a very interesting show.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So today I want to start off asking if y'all seen this disturbing video, even though this happened last week. I think it was last week, where a 9-year-old got tased by the police officer, and how
I didn't see the video, but I heard about it.
Yeah, and I mean, even with you not seeing the video, just hearing that a police officer tased a 9-year-old doesn't sit right in my soul, or even my heart, because we are living in a not. I'm trying to edit myself, but I should not try to edit myself because I'm pretty frustrated with this. Where
leave that to me.
Yeah, we're seeing our kids now. Seeing the adults getting killed or being brutalized by the police is one thing. But now seeing kids, I'm not saying that she was the first one. We can go back to Trayvon Martin.
We could just Emmett Till.
Yeah, and
at the end of the day,
just seeing that video for myself, or just even hearing that, it doesn't sit right with me, and it's something that is, as a police officer, as an adult, you tasing a 9-year-old kid, something is wrong with you. Not just wrong with you, but seriously.
This is the only question I have to ask to the officers. Was this biological, numerically, chronologically identified child, genetically, physically built with at least the body frame? This is a little girl here. So we're saying with at least the body frame of a 16, 17-year-old, was she structurally that large for you to feel threatened enough to tase a fucking 9-year-old?
Yeah, and
a good pop on the top of the head. They're like, let's keep. It's a 9-year-old. A good karate chop with half effort on the top of the head will calm that little girl down. If you was in that much of a danger issue, or a good mush to the face if she was trying to bite you. A taser, my nigga. I've been kicked in the nuts by kids, and I ain't never went as far as I'm gonna tase you.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Go ahead,
teach.
What was she trying to fight him? Or was she reacting as a 9-year-old child, crying and sobbing because she's in a state of disbelief?
Doesn't matter. You're 9.
Right. No, my point is he is an animal, and people like him are animals. And they do that reverse projection. He projected to her to be an animal. He treated her the way he deserves to be treated.
No, I'm sorry, Teach. I got to jump in on that one for a minute just to change the wording. He's not an animal. As someone who calls himself Beast and attributes himself to a very feral and animalistic tendency in nature, I cannot condone that language. He is a sub-creature. He is a cretin. A subterranean dweller like that of the descent. Because those type of creatures, everything is fair game. So I can understand the logic of being a creature. Everything is food. So everything must be approached in that violent capacity. But everything else you're saying is spot on. Just they ain't animals, fucking creatures.
This brings back to my mind the story you told about the man in your neighborhood where he caught you, said you shouldn't be out here, and he walked you back to your aunt's house. I want to know, where were the men in this community?
Not even men.
Where were the guardian angels in this community? Because if we don't get back to taking care of our community, things like this is going to continue to happen.
and see, and
The
then
whole purpose of the Black Panther movement was to police the police. And then what, in New York, New Jersey, the Guardian Angels, the Deacons of Defense, we can go on and on listing groups that organize to keep their communities safe
And you know
from
what teacher brings on another point.
the
And they bring another point
established
with that.
quote unquote authority. We have to bring those people back.
yeah, and
No.
see, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Which also is great that you rung up the Deacons for Defense and all that stuff. And this is why I harp on Mr. Farrakhan and the NOI. I mean, it's great when you in front of a podium talking a good game, but it would be nice if you would have your men down there being like, hey, this right here ain't gonna happen no more. That's why every time I hear people say great things about Minister Farrakhan, about how he does so many great things and all that stuff, but then I give him the side eye, like, where were you and your folks when Tamir Rice got killed? Y'all talk about it, but where you at?
But
When
what I'm
this
saying is, on every block,
right,
there
and
should
yeah,
be
and I
a
agree.
community watch.
But see,
It doesn't
teacher, I
have
want
to
to take it
be
deeper than that.
organized by a big name or a big person. It can be organized by the person that lived on the second house on the left,
Yes, and I
or the
wholeheartedly
person
agree.
that lived on the corner, or the person
Right.
that lived in the middle of the block. Each block, people live there.
Mhm.
Those people are responsible. Those are the people that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the people that live 6 states over. I'm looking for the people that live next door. I'm looking for the people that live across the street. Somebody in the neighborhood has to be able to police that neighborhood. We can't look outside of ourselves for help.
Mhm.
We have to look right where we stand, to the left, to the right, before us, behind us. These are the people that have to stand up. And every young man has to be the big brother or the uncle to every other little child out there in the streets.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have to do this. We can't look for Farrakhan. We can't look for Reverend Ike. We can't look for all these people that live somewhere that we don't live. We have to look at the people that live on our block. We have to organize our own community.
Yeah,
And we have to say what goes in our community and what does not go in our community.
yeah, and
we have to make the police afraid to come down our block with some foolishness. If they're not coming to protect and serve, they're not coming. We have to send the message that they cannot come and abuse our children.
Well, it's more than that, Teach. It's about quality control. Because we got to think, and the reason why she feels so passionate about it, because at the end of the day, it's quality control. Think about it. We have an industry of quality control to keep all the other industries in check. The Better Business Bureau. You have you have an association of lawyers that keep all the other lawyers in line. Every other facet of everything in America outside of the police has a quality control. And it is broke down to a local community level. So why are we as the people, not just the Black people, as fucking Americans, why are we not allowed to establish that same quality control when it comes with respect to the government? And the law enforcement is merely a facet of the government.
One, we don't have to ask permission. Somebody has to throw some balls and put some notices, knock on everybody's door and say, look, on Saturday at 12 noon, we're going to have a community meeting. And we need everybody to be here. If you can't be here, you send a representative. But we're going to talk about what's going on this block. I got a sign-up sheet. I need you to sign up either with your nickname, whatever, on what time you're going to patrol this neighborhood.
But see that
That's not subject to anybody else's permission. That's something that we can do of our own.
Mhm.
I agree with you. I agree with you. With, like, it go back to the point I made earlier in other shows about acknowledging where you are, acknowledging what you got in front of you. So when she's talking about all that, let's be real, most Black communities got a level of quote unquote crime or nefarious underdoings and individuals that live there.
Mhm.
So these are the main people that need to be out here on the watches because they out here in the fucking streets anyway. Not coordinating with the same community dwellers that really ain't out there like that, and they want to do it. Shoot, look, we already out. It's like, look, y'all little gang members, y'all already out here on the fucking block, day in and day out, doing nothing. Set your ass up for success. You don't want the police fucking with you, then you make sure you out there. You make sure while you out there, you make sure the kids ain't out there. It's dark. They need to be in the house. Take their asses in the house. Somebody coming out there with groceries and shit. Be civil and respectful. Yeah. Keep the fucking neighborhood protected. Don't bring no bullshit. Don't start no bullshit. And if the police come around there fucking with you, civilly and respectfully, make yourself aware. Record yourself, but don't be real. Hey, we ain't out here doing that. We being respectful. We just keeping the watch on the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Make sure ain't nothing popping off.
And Teach
we'll call y'all something to do.
And Teach had a good point about people looking out for help outside themselves. I believe it is time. It is time for us to stop looking at the politicians. Stop looking, on YouTubers that's saying all these things to give you a warm and fuzzy feeling. It's a time for you to get your gun. We should take a play out of the right wingers book. At least they got up and they did something. Well, they even before the what happened January 6th. I'm not implying that, but they've been doing that since they felt like they've been oppressed. They've been doing that since the first Black politician have ever won to Congress. That's something
they were doing slowly but surely.
That's something that
they built up to the point that Teach was talking about of the actual meetings. They had little conversations here and there, conversations like we having now. Just throwing topics out there, engaging people's responses, seeing who feel what way, and then you pull them to the side, have another conversation, a little more in depth.
Right. It's time for all of us to get together. It's time for us to be more involved in our community. It's time for us to be at the freaking town hall meetings, be like, look here, if the police ain't gonna fix it, we gonna fix it, and they're not gonna come up in there and tell us otherwise, or it will be a war. Because people don't understand too in the Black community, they are military veterans amongst the community that people don't know. With all that experience, the thing is with these young thugs that's out there, I'm not even gonna say thugs. Let me take that back.
Young fools.
These young fools, I would say that young fools out there, what they should be doing, just because you know how to shoot a gun how can I put it? Just because you can shoot a gun doesn't mean you know how to use a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can shoot a gun. Knock on wood, a little baby can shoot a gun. A gun can go off by itself if it's not monitored the right way.
I'm going to use the rhetoric from the movie Shoot 'Em Up when the gunsmith was talking to the assassin. He said, are you a man with a gun or are you a pussy with a pistol in your palm?
Basically,
anybody can pick up a gun and use it. And it's the same way with a knockout. Anybody can get knocked out. Yep. It's very easy to knock somebody out, but it takes great skill to make somebody submit or to make somebody just not get up.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's time that we start going to those veterans, and those veterans need to make themselves known in the community. And let me teach you self-defense. Let me teach you situational awareness. Let me teach you all the things that I learned when I was in the military. Not just in the military, I've been out there into other countries where they shooting at me because of the uniform that I had on. Let me teach you something, Kat. These are the leaders that need to be stepping up right now. These are the real OGs that need to be stepping up and sitting there saying, look, rendezvous around this time, 1630. No questions asked. If your ass is late, you're going to have to answer to me. And I agree with Tish wholeheartedly with everything she said. But Mayo, we kind of left you out the conversation. But what do you feel about it? Then we're going to jump into the video, see what everybody, show everybody what we were talking about.
Well, I was going to try to see the video. But to what's been said so far, I just think everything everybody's saying is true. I think that we ought to set expectations or goals that are realistic. I just came out of a meeting last night, community meeting where, and I can definitely say this because it's something that a lot of people in the community have said, and I have texted. Of course, I'm not going to share the text on in public without letting them know. But people have texted me like, we know the city's playbook is to. They have gotten 2 people that lived in the community, and 1 person that did not live in the community to be running our neighborhood association. And out of that meeting, only the commissioners. So I've been a commissioner in my neighborhood for probably the last 4 years or so. But every time I've tried to make a point, like there's 2 people that the city has been kind of like trying to. They've given them incentives, and I mean like by the city, the mayor and people in the department is giving them incentives to keep, like toning down the community voice and we will bring opinions that look like the community, but it's from the city's recommendations, whatever. So, and this is one of the most underserved communities in Columbus. So you can imagine, they're making it sound like this community that wants to speak, but bottom line is that we are not showing up at the meeting. So I've been trying to galvanize folks to come to the meeting.
Exactly.
And so when I say that, when T says that everybody come out, I've knocked on those doors. I've done, folks are doing their own thing. So the question is, how realistic is it that people are gonna actually come out?
I would not say.
As much as we want to make all that happen, and unity is important, and all this stuff is important, how realistic is it that it's gonna come out? And even before I knew, you were talking about this young girl, and before you knew, we went to touch a subject that we often run away from. Well, I won't say run away from, but we often don't want to talk about most of the time. But you kind of braced onto it in the sense of this young punks, whatever, like, how about black on black crime? We are the ones that's supposed to solve it. We are the ones supposed to come out and let our young punks know that you can't be doing that. Like you taking out your own more than anybody else taking you out. We're supposed to be telling them, but we're not organized. We're not, and I don't want to dare say we're not together, because we're together when it comes to the optics. Unless somebody famous says something bad about us, we're going to get that. We're going to get, but when it comes to the stuff that's going on right in front of us, somebody else going to handle that one, so it's like, so when do we critique each other? When do we honestly, like family, talk to each other like we are failing ourselves? When do we do that, in opposed to just lying to each other and making
going to take.
You do it when you get ready.
The black sheep. Well, it's going in order to get that unity, in order to have, because no matter the goal, it's not the goal that needs to be realistic. It's the execution. So the goal can be achieved. The call out that needs to be done, I got to get on my seatway. What we need is not the educators. We need the tacticians. We need the oddballs. We need those of a off-kiltered mindset and perspective. Those chess-minded individuals. I speak on for myself because I'm hearing what you're saying over there, and I'm just thinking, a lot of this shit can be easily solved if you get the right people to do the right things, and all that's going to take is the right motivation. Now, the right motivation causes a certain level of sociopathic nature to have to come out, because you got to get real flexible with your morals and ethics in order to achieve that goal. Are you willing to do that? Like, tacticians got no problem. They already thinking, all right, I can go down this route. I can go down this route. The more information you give them, the easier it is to solve the problem. The easier it is to build out a realistic, logical, structured path to get to your goal. You may not like the components of it. You may wonder why this piece is here, what the fuck this piece is doing, but it's all set to a certain motion. The easiest way I can explain it is if anybody's ever seen the movie Law Abiding Citizen, Gerard Butler's character, that's the type of individual you need. Because tacticians, they're constantly thinking about shit like that randomly.
Definitely if they've been done wrong.
Yeah, especially. So it's nothing for an individual like that to tap into that level of thought process on a whim. So if you give them motivation, they can go down that path barreling and give you a whole mess of ideas and ways to solve your problem. You simply got to pick. So like these are people we need to call out and get the meet and get that meeting going on, like Teacher saying, because they're the individuals that can actually help solve Mayo's problems. Because they'll know exactly in spite of. Go ahead, Teacher.
I believe it takes one person on your block to have some courage. To call a meeting, get to know your neighbors, and talk about the neighborhood that we want and describe how we can achieve it and encourage everyone to buy into the vision of your neighborhood. I have seen neighborhoods transformed by the neighbors. Before I left Michigan, I lived in an older retirement neighborhood. Everybody was retired except for me and my husband. We were the youngest couple on the block. But as the elders were aging, they couldn't keep up their front yards and everything like they used to. And when I say they used to have immaculate yards, they had immaculate yards. So my block club got together and said, let's have a flower contest. Put posters on everybody's door, let's spruce up your yard. Let's plant some flowers. Let's have who can have the greenest grass. And they gave out little awards. So within 1 year, we got back to where we used to be. It can be done if someone would take the initiative. What is wrong with African Americans? I will say it unilaterally. I'm going to paint it with one broad brush. We have been conditioned to be dependent on someone else to have a vision for our lives. And this is what I'm talking about concerning that voice. Your neighbor's yard look raggedy, and you're like, oh, that ain't my business.
Well, actually, it is.
Hey, okay, summer program. We got these 15, 16, 20-year-olds running around with nothing to do. The block can take up a collection and have these boys mow everybody line in the neighborhood, and we pay them. Giving them something constructive to do, that's something in our power. If every house gave $5, and if somebody was able to give more, give more. But $200 a week to keep the lawns mowed on the whole block. That's something that we can do.
So
we have to think inwardly and not outwardly.
Go ahead, Mayo, and then we'll jump into the video. Go ahead, Mayo.
Because I want to ask Mayo a question anyway, because I was going to add to what T's saying. For those, like she said, those that don't feel like they want to give nothing, like it's not my business.
Right.
When you live in communities, from a realtor standpoint, if I'm correct, when it comes to homes, the value is accrued not just off the house's value, but the house next to yours as well on either side. So if your house is good, if your house is good, but the house next to you is kind of shady or Shaggy, it actually brings the value down, not just your house, but the entire community.
They call the comps in the area. Where if you try to buy a house in the block, I mean, they look at all the houses, and they kind of like average out, and find out what your value of your house is going to be off the houses, in the area. So if it's tore down, you're going to have a bad comp. If it's up high, you're going to have a good comp. You have to be able to sell the house or whatever, or buy a house. So yeah, they compare them to each other as well with the comp.
So like T said, $5-10 a week, hey, $20 a week, and you paying all the neighborhood boys to mow the lawn, and you actually saving or making sure you get a better value on your house. Like if everybody's house is immaculate, that's extra 10, 20,000 on the value of your house. If your house is at already 370, go ahead and round it out to 400,000. Just because everybody lawn good.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys, all you guys is having a great point. What I'm just saying is that being honest with each other, we know. I mean, because yesterday we ended up getting a chance to get a little win. The community got a little win. From the guy who was the chair, who did not. The only neighborhood in the whole city that had a chair and a vice chair that did not live in the community, and because it was a loophole in our bylaws, and the city director always kind of came into, because I've always challenged that. City director will always come in and always be on their side, until you can get enough people to come change it. We need to stop hearing you complain, man. We gotta get the meetings going on. We can't have you complain, So I'm like, why is it out of over 30 neighborhoods in the city, the only one that don't have, the chair and vice chair being residents is the one that we're in, and the one that the mayor is focusing on, where developers are coming in and trying to do a whole lot, i.e. gentrification. So why is it so? So finally, yesterday was able to get those folks off, and I'm the vice chair now. We have another chair who's, we had elections yesterday. They didn't show up. A couple other people on this other side, the chair and another one, and didn't show up. So we was able to have elections yesterday and change that. But I say all that. With that being said, I hear and get before all that, and I mean, everything starting dating to yesterday. Before yesterday, I would get text and all kind of stuff from neighbors who would say, "Oh, I see all the stuff going on. I'm tired of it. I'm not going to come to the meeting because there's a bunch of BS going on." I mean, they complaining. They complaining is true. So that's the reason why they don't want to show up. And I keep telling them, but it's not going to change until you show up. So that when enough of us show up, we're going to embarrass these folks, and they're going to be like, well, I guess I got to go back to my neighborhood because I can't keep running this scam on y'all. But, yesterday it's only by the fact that they didn't show up. They got something because maybe the snowstorm or whatever. I mean, even they could have done that from home because it's a Zoom meeting. No, they didn't show up on it. So that's why we're able to do that. But all I'm saying is that just imagine on Zoom meetings, and we're only getting 5 people that are commissioned. The people who are residents are supposed to be meeting with the commissioners. Nobody who are residents show up at our meeting. And this is a very well Black community. So the question to y'all is how realistic is it? Because I've done the knocking on doors. Before I got elected, I got 90 signatures. I was supposed to get 50 signatures. I got 90. I spoke to each one of them. They're like, "Oh, we can't wait for you to do it," and all that. We're gonna be at the meeting, but when meeting time comes, it's like pick it. So obviously, folks got jobs and all the things they gotta do. And I'm not trying to pour on my neighborhood. I mean, it's like that in most Black neighborhoods. Because the neighborhood I was in before I moved over here was a Black one too, where I grew up at. And it was something similar to that. So, but the question is when and how, because there's the expectation that we have for them is so high. When and how are we gonna reach that expectation?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead,
Mayo, I want to take you back down memory lane. You remember we used to do those programs at the OSU Community Center. Okay. And I don't know if you remember this particular day, I was kind of frustrated because the people would come out. We always had a very good turnout. And why did they come out, Mayo? You remember why the people came out?
Because you had something for them to come out too. I mean, because you got to build it. If you build it, they'll come. Yeah, that is true. Yes, we did have to have food for them. Because we felt like, why do we have to incentivize you? Why do we have to incentivize you to come out? But you're right. We did have to incentivize.
Yeah, and I remember we were waiting for the building to open and to go in and set up, and several cars rolled by and said, "What time is the food going to be served?" And that pissed me utterly off. It pissed me utterly off because They weren't concerned about the program. They just
Right.
wanted to come and eat the food. And we had good food each and every time we had a program. But me, you, Shabaka, and the
Absolutely.
other volunteers, we went in our pockets and purchased that food
Right.
and paid people to cook that food.
That's true. That's
And
true.
then if you ask for a donation, they act like you was asking for their liver.
You felt like you was in church. It was like, nigga, this ain't church. How dare you?
Right. But you know, we were, I had a full-time job then, pulling my hair out at the roots on that job, then taking my little paycheck and providing food for them, and all they wanted was the food. But my point is, that was the incentive. If we didn't have any food, they wouldn't show up. And that's the nature of this particular beast. Now, speaking to the issue of the black on black crime, again, that's a situation that we have to solve within ourselves. If we came up with our own community-led programs, our own programs of self-esteem, self-determination, ways to make money. I had to give props to my grandson. He just turned 18 back in November of 2020, but as early as April of 2020, when he was 17, he got a taste for money, and he was working a job. He saved his money and he bought his first car. But in buying that first car, he got a taste for, I can sell it, flip it, and make more money. So between that time and before he got 18 years old, he bought and sold 20 cars.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Bad.
Now, since he's been 18, he bought one whole car and sold one whole car, because the whole deal was he wanted to get his dealership license. And I kept telling him it's not going to count until he get 18. So now he's 18. Now everything slowed down, but he is in college. But what I'm saying is, he was working at a fast food joint. He made his little money, and he had a goal to achieve, and that was to buy his first car. And so from there, he turned into the car business. So he has that hustle in him in terms of investing his money, in terms of saving his money. This is what we have to teach the youth. We have to teach them that there's more ways to make money. Now, I've never knowingly participated with any drug dealers or anything like that. But from what I can see, unless you Nino Brown, you really ain't making no money.
Right.
Nah.
If you
Unless you the way man.
and if you are, the way you're spending it is of no effect. When you see a drug dealer's house and he still have a mattress on the floor,
he ain't making no
and,
money.
and don't even have a frame. See, something wrong with that picture.
Yeah, babe.
Something
You got
like-
a lot, babe.
As a
So-
former weight man, I can attest. Because I did my little dirt, and I was lucky enough. Most dudes want to get that. I want to become like the Connect. I want to be the plug. I fell into it. I became the plug overnight. Instant overhead. No cost. I'm the one bringing in the pills. I'm the one selling everything. I make 100% profit. You got to come to me and me alone. So as somebody that's done that, I can attest, you really ain't making no money. And I mean, I'm flipping, like, I'm paying my bills. I'm literally paying my rent. I'm working to make a full job, a full 40-hour week job, and flipping. And I would come home and instantly made $1,200, $1,500 off of 2 scripts. And I was wholesaling. I still really wasn't making no money. And this was my first time, so I was just like being respectful. I really wasn't trying to be out here and, have everybody in my business. So I'm going to keep it low key. Still ain't making no money. Rent paid and everything. Like, I'm comfortable, but I ain't making no money.
I know big
But
wealth.
breaking even.
let me ask you this. I made that point too. Now, you have these weed dispensaries all over my state and other states. It's
And
legal
here in
now to
Washington.
sell weed and so forth and so on. And I know that there's still the street weed out there, but I want to know, why is it difficult for Black people who,
I know where he going.
naturally sell those drugs? How come they want
Uh,
go through the
most of
licensing or pay the dues, whatever they need to do to open
right,
up them a
why don't you
store
pay a
and sell it
consultant?
legally?
Mhm.
Excuse me.
You
'Cause
are
most
paying
of them,
consultants
most of
to
them.
get your company
Once
open. Other than
Well, once again, I got to jump in on this one. I got to jump in and
Go.
answer this question as the professional jerky, Keith Richards of the panel. Most the average American weed head is casual and functionally an addict, but casual about their mindset when it comes to weed. They just need it to help them deal with what the fuck they need to deal with on a day-to-day basis, whether it be psychosomatic to physical. Just to the dealers, pretty much the same thing. I'm selling this shit to break even with life. Like, even no matter how good I am, no matter how knowledgeable I am, and then unfortunately a lot of them are in the wrong states. Then coupled with it just now got legal, but there's no grandfather clause applied to Black people in respect to average nigga, hood nigga got at least one petty dope charge or citation to his name.
That's crazy.
So
And
that's another obstacle to why black folk who are so good at it, it's been demonized so long, and we've been demonized along with it, to now that they figured out a way for them to make a good profit off of it and legalize it, tax it across the board, because that was always the issue. They could have been legalized,
so,
but
all right,
they
so
had to figure out what tax.
let me go ahead and jump in because this is the top of the hour. But I'm gonna leave with this point here. Here in Washington, everybody knows Sean Kemp, right? The great supersonic himself.
Why?
What's up?
He has a shop named after him, and that's
Sean
it.
Hemp.
And that's it. People thought that was his shop. Oh, no. The store used his name as the store name. Not his store, but his name to name the store.
But technically, because it's his name, and we go back to the legal intellectual property, that's his. He definitely got some endorsement. Like, and with the name as notable as Sean Kemp to turn into Sean Hemp, come on, you gonna have to pay that man.
Yeah, and they probably is.
He well known.
But the crazy thing is,
hold on. If they turn to Sean Helm, it doesn't have to be Sean. I mean, because it's not like Sean Kemp is like like Obama. So I mean, even if it's Obama, if I want to, it gotta be the same. I'm pretty sure it gotta be something that everybody knows that's what it is. But if I say
Sean Kemp is a great out here.
No. What I'm saying is that if you call it Sean Helm or Sean Kemp, he can try to go after them about Sean Kemp, but he can't go after them after Sean Help. It could be a guy that's named Sean. They're selling help. They said Sean's help. I mean,
but they actually, but
that's the lawyer. They like I said, they use his name. They do have a random strain called Sean Hemp. Like, they got crazy names and goofy. They got a Gorilla Glue strain now.
Well, if they trademark the name and he doesn't have it. So
you get a point. Thank you. That was what I was going. Okay.
If they trademark the name, and if they pay the local registrar for that name, and he hadn't done it, it's theirs.
Right. I was going there too. Hold on, real quick. One thing I want to add on. Hold on, real quick. It's funny. Like, you were talking about the folks who might have a charge. That might be another obstacle, or obstacle towards them getting a license, whatever. But all it takes is for them to come together and associate themselves, hire lobbyists, and lobbyists would get them that law changed. Again, it's all about voice. Using your political voice. But it's all about just not wanting to.
Allow me to get biblical then. Allow me to get biblical.
Real quick, because I got.
Just like you talking about the voice. Everybody's got their voice, but sometimes you need that mouthpiece. or that speaker to amplify.
Yeah.
And in our case, it's not necessarily we need that one savior. We just need that one definitive group of individuals that could unilaterally speak for everybody. The words they say and the way it's formatted, no matter how you feel, they speak it for you. It might not be your actual words or rhetoric, but it falls right along with it.
Yeah.
So they are actually speaking on your behalf. That's all that's what we're really looking for, in the sense of we're looking for that Messiah. No, we're just looking for that mouthpiece. We just need that speaker, that microphone.
Since you're talking biblical, I just think they just need to baptize themselves with a new frame of mind.
Absolutely. They just don't want to
and go out.
Okay.
You so right, sister.
Let me get
People don't want to stop what
everybody back to the corners. Everybody back to the corners. I gotta play this commercial. On the top of the hour, y'all. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk more about this, and then we go also going to show the video of what we've been talking about. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Now, before I play this video, what you're about to see is going to be very graphic. Is probably going to take you a lot to just hold it all in, but we want to show you exactly what we're talking about. So this is the footage, courtesy. I'm gonna be nice because I don't want this channel to be Facebook to come after us. But this is courtesy of NBC 10, News 10 NBC. So just want to throw that out there. So please do not take this video down. This is for topic discussing purposes only. Here we go.
Fair use.
You gotta tell this officer. I want my dad. I'm not going over. I want my dad. Hey, get back in your house.
Yeah, let's go have a seat.
No, I want my dad.
I'm not gonna run off.
I want my dad.
Yes, you're gonna be fine. Stop.
I want my dad. I'm not getting in no car until I see my dad.
Here, just stop for a second.
I want my dad. 47. I want my dad. No.
Stop. Take us, dear.
Stop! Oh my God!
Just
Okay,
relax.
okay. Wait, my mom's just pregnant.
Are you done?
My mom's pregnant. Oh yeah, please don't
Stop.
let me go. Please. I want my dad.
Stop.
Yeah, can we stop you, please?
Please.
You good?
Give me a break. I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep
I
going.
don't even want to see Taser. I don't even want to see Taser.
Let me say this. She's a 9-year-old girl. The police officers tell whoever, go back in the house. This is a 9-year-old girl. The first thing that comes to my mind is isolation and separate. You know, when they did the kidnapping during the slave trade, do you know the average age was between 6 and 16 years old? They kidnapped children to dominate them and control them. If you were too, if you were little too grown, you really weren't what the kidnappers were looking for. They were looking for an easy target. And the younger the person is, the easier it is, one, to physically manipulate them, and two, to socially isolate them, and three, to psychologically damage them. Now, I don't know what state that took place in, but I do know this, that anytime that the police are involved with juvenile, their parent or some representative has to be present.
Yeah. I mean,
so they violated laws all up and down the law book.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing a police officer should be doing. Is your parents home? What's their number? Give them a call right now, rather than just quote unquote taking the law in your own hands. I mean, we didn't even get to the nitty gritty part of what's really turning heads in the mainstream right now, and that is the pepper.
I'm pissed off at that point. I ain't even got to. No, I'm pissed off at. Hold on, I was thinking it was on some shit like there was some distance. She was making movements, like that he had, like he felt like he had to draw one on her. It's like, yo, like calm down. Nah.
I thought they were talk to her. That's why I wanted to watch the rest of the video. I mean, like sometimes.
I mean, we gonna play it or whatever, but I'm be honest, I ain't gonna look at it like. I'm seething right now just seeing that.
Yeah, because that's my first time ever seeing it from that part. But
I could, but I as a human being could not even hear no shit like that or happen to glance upon no shit like that. Mm-hmm. And not at least scream like, what the fuck? Like at least scream that to get them to stop. Like, no, stop. But no, what the hell what did she do? You gonna have to shoot me and that's a child, bro. I don't care what she did, that's a child. And see, unless she got a pistol in her hand, ain't no fucking reason for you to treat a child like that. Like I said, we ain't got to the point of tasing.
Yeah, but if anybody ever saw American Skin, that's one of the recent movies that's out right now. You should go and watch it on Amazon Prime. I watched it actually on YouTube. For some reason, it ties into that. And the part that what's his name? Who played the part of the father? I forgot his name. He was actually the director. He was us. He was what Teach was talking about. Was within us, that pent up anger, that rage, that just had enough. So I'm gonna do this.
I've seen it.
That's he represented us. That, like I said, that inner spirit of, enough is enough. How he went up into a police station, he shot it up, he basically put that officer on trial, and not to mention every police officer started to show their true colors, even in front of the prisoners. And then also, I saw an interview that he did. He had many interviews. He had on Hot 97. He even had it with the Breakfast Club, where he literally said that the prisoners, I think half of them, were actually prisoners or actually coming out of prison. Now you could tell the two that were, the other two was also actors, but the other prisoners were actual prisoners. So that tells you a lot how much he put into this film. But me seeing this part, I understand where Beast is coming from. I understand definitely where Teach is coming from. But it just leads me to this. when I hear there are good police officers out there, they trying to do right and all that stuff, but I always go back to what in the world are you doing about it? If there are good officers out there, why should I instill my trust in you just because I have to? Just because you are sworn to protect. That's what it says on the side of the car. Anybody correct me if I'm wrong. That's what it says on the side of the car, to protect and serve. And then
honestly, I don't even think they put that on the cars no more. I don't even think they put that on the cars no more.
And I'm not even gonna lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know I keep it 100 on the show. I believe hopefully we all keep it 100 on the show. There are times when I see stories on Facebook where they try to have the good feeling stories about what police officers doing to the communities, where I'm just like, and
I mean, that's
Mayo,
cool, but
yeah, right. Mayo can go out here. Look at what Mayo's doing in the community. Look what he's doing in his community. No different, but Mayo is doing something out of the kindness of his heart, his blood, sweat, and tears. He put his soul into it. He didn't have to. He could just be just that law-abiding citizen, go to work. He has a business, sell houses, find another hustle, and then come back and bring home the bacon, and he's back watching the football games and have
it takes away from my money making.
Right, and have himself a PB&J with some milk on the side.
Mm-hmm.
He could be just like that, easy. Teach. She could have a festival, all coming out her money because she wants to see everybody, the African culture, to be expressed by every Black person on her block. And she wants them to experience that. She didn't have to do it. She wanted to do it because her spirit moved her to do it. Beach Johnson, he said, you know what? I'm
done
go
it with shows.
Right.
I have came out my pocket to buy tickets to make sure other artists. I have filled up my set with other artists. Say, all right, I will get an hour set, but I got 7-8 other artists that came in with me. Right. And I ain't make no profit. And other than us, I ain't make no profit because they needed to get that experience.
Right. A platform that he created that he could have used on his own to make his own money, to make his own way. And he chose to have other artists come up on there and use that platform to boost up their status. He didn't have to do that, but he did it anyway because he was like, I used to be you. And I told myself, if I have somebody that was in my shoes then, I'm going to make sure that they get right, that I give them a platform, that I give them their voice, that I give them their audience for them to succeed. And hopefully they will do it for the same person after them. So police officers have to understand that it's just like me in the military. When I put my hand up and I say I'm going to defend this country, foreign and domestic, it was no choice. I got to do it. I may not like it, but guess what? I got to do it. But it seems like it's basically martial law when it comes to them. And for anybody whose blue lives matter and your feelings getting crushed and hurt, well, whoop-dee-do. I'm going to say it right here. I'm going to say it right here. Y'all hate us. Period. Mm-hmm. And for you to sit there and also try to
hate us.
And for the and it was a joke. It was a running joke in Virginia. My uncle, he said it, but it was a joke all through town, where they only had one spook, as we call him, one spook as the chief of the whole entire police in town, and the rest was white. And we all will say we know who's running him. Because every single time those officers come up in the neighborhoods and they just, they like the boogeyman. It's like when they come on up in there, like life stops. You may not be doing nothing wrong, but you would think you're doing something wrong.
You just feel uneasy.
Right, you just feel not only just uneasy, you just feel like you're a criminal, like you already being judged for a crime that you didn't even commit or understand what crime they already got you pinned on. You could be just walking out the store, even if they say, "Hey, how you doing, Miss Joe? How you doing?" What's the first thing you gonna think? What the fuck you want with me? Why is he saying good morning to me? Because you already know it's something behind it. Because if you continue to have that conversation, you know it's going to lead off into that question of, "Hey, Anita, the other day they said that they seen you here at 4:30 p.m. Coming out with bags like you are right now. Can you recall what else happened when you walked out that store?" It's gonna be called into you automatically being called into question, and you probably don't even know what the world's going on. And you would have been like, "Officer, if am I under arrest? No, then I don't have to answer your questions." And you know what happens from there. And I'm really starting to believe that the police don't have our best interests at hand. I think they get a kick. I believe that they get a kick. I think they get a kick out of our fear. And then knowing that they will go through the preacher and they go and teach. Remember, one of your students, one of my classmates, did this in Kentucky, where they had that little meeting at the church, and we had an All Lives Matter meeting. And I told Teach, I was like, "Teach, you see this? Huh? You see this? The chief of police over there having a conversation with them at the freaking church, because they think because of forgiveness, because we're so forgiving, they feed off it, like they know what we're gonna do." But go ahead, Teach, and then Mayo.
Mayo was going to say something before the break, and I'm interested to hear his thought.
Yeah, go ahead, Mayo.
Well, I mean, I know, y'all know I always have some kind of funny thing. When I mean funny, like something that's off the wall. So, I mean, my thing is, like, it's, I'm glad I saw the video, but I feel like one of the things I try to do is, especially since I joined the show, because I normally don't say nothing at all, is to, and this is what they always say, and I mean when we've seen historical racial things done to us, and the first thing they're like, let's watch all the footages, let's get all the facts, so for me, I'm in that state all the time. Let's so I mean, obviously we just watched a 9-year-old get arrested, then of course I don't know if after they got cuffed, they got tased. So I mean, I want to stay to the fact and try to remove my emotions from it. Now I know we're saying like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? You're a black man. Is that sometimes we say that? Then hold on. Then sometimes we say that. Then we get our emotions in and like, don't tell me like you have to stay back. That's my son right there. And now you run into that and you want to get shot down. And even though they were wrong, that's the life is gone. So I mean, so we can always quarterback it from where we at, in the sense that I won't let anybody tell me. I know I ain't gonna let nobody have my kids tell me to stand back. But at least I'll be telling them, hey, that's a 9-year-old, that's a minor. I mean, I'll be yelling back at them something. Then I'm just trying to find out. I mean, if that was a situation, let's just take the colors out of it. It's a white kid that's been done like that, and then we find out that white kids, one of these white kids that killed their mom and dad in the house, and they want to get arrested and they want to run away. So I don't. What is the call for all this stuff? I have no information. All I'm watching is a 9-year-old been struggling with two cops, which I think the two of them should have been into get the arm down the back. They should have been into manhandle the kid, like Beast was talking about earlier, without having to tase the kid, regardless of why they're there or all this stuff. So I'm still trying to get to my mind. Let me listen hard to all the facts and look. First of all, this whole thing about get back in the house is a culture that we got to try to get our elected officials to tell the police. Because again, at the end of the day, the number one police in every department is your mayor. So we keep, we're acting like this same drug dealers. Like we don't know how to organize. You gotta organize. You gotta use the fact. Yes, the police department, the culture is racist, but that's the system we still have. We don't have any other system right now unless we can get the Nation of Islam to stop putting badges on these people. I mean, we just don't have nothing else but the police right now, and we need to drive more young boys and girls into the police department so we can have some kind of balance into the fact that there's so many of them and they can manhandle us under the shield and keep. Because I worked at the sheriff's department in our roll call. I hear what was said that when the guys are going out, be careful. Folks out there, they're all on guard. I mean, but guess what? To be careful, they say in close of, be careful when you going out to the hospital because the folks are in there, they might, I mean, it's all cool. Be careful when you're going out to this community, and they dish them to different communities, but be careful, the way you hear it, the tone you hear it, you can kind of like get what they're saying. They kind of, when you get there, you probably will face more danger or not. They're not saying that, but I can hear that in the code. So what I'm saying to us is that if we can always try to find a way to, again, the systemic part of it, let's tackle the systemic part of it. Because if we just keep reacting to each one of these things, they're going to keep happening. How can we get the system to change so it can stop happening? And this whole thing about sitting there and saying that is what I would probably, I won't rush him because I know I'll probably go get shot. Especially being a 6'2", 260-pound dude, I'm probably gonna get shot. If I rush him, like, that's my kid. But obviously, I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna stay in the house. That's a minor. Now, if he was just shot his mom, and I'm his dad, whatever, I'm like, hold on, no, yeah, still take it easy on him. But like, he's still innocent until proven guilty. What y'all doing? Why y'all tasing him while he's cuffed? It seemed like they were cuffing him. When you stopped the video, they were cuffing the kid. Weren't they able to cuff him? Did he remove a head? What happened? I mean, so I'm just like, they're there to do something. The whole scaring of people and the idea of them scaring people to go back in the house, that is enough offense. Like, why are you scaring people that you're supposed to come protect? So let's focus on those things, and that's the way I look at it,
Exactly. I mean, you're dealing with a juvenile. You're dealing not even a teenager, but a juvenile, and you're telling their parents or who, I don't know who they were talking to, but telling them to go back in the house. No.
It's not that, teacher. It's the approach. Like, I deal with mentally and psychologically and emotionally disturbed kids. Like, I deal with group homes. All my kids on pills. All my kids violent. All my kids at any moment could throw a TV or punch me in the jaw or steal the car. And they got their flare-ups. I've been in situations like that where they're screaming. I've been in situations like that with 37-year-old individuals in the mental health field, screaming for their mama out in the middle of the yard, trying to swing on me. There's proper ways to go about it, especially when you're dealing with a child. There was no need for that type of restraint. And even at that point, that officer could have easily restrained one hand to show I'm not going nowhere, while placing the other hand on the child's chest, saying, look, and nothing wrong and nothing going on. Look, I just need you to calm down right now. I just need you to calm down so we can work this out. Mm-hmm. Just calm down for me. You're not going in the car. We can sit down right here. I'll sit down here right with you. And when the person jumped out, hey, find out if that's a parent. If not, then no, we good.
Right.
And then he could have sat right down, because she was already just like she was already going down. All he had to do was just drop down right with, hey, you're not going over. Just calm down. Just calm down.
You would think so. You would literally think
like I said, I've been in that situation with individuals that cannot even verbalize, and they're still acting in that same accords. And I still conduct myself like that. Like, yo, calm down. No. I show authority. I show I'm not going nowhere and you're not going nowhere. But I'm not here to hurt you. And I do everything else with the rest of my body to assure you that, hey, calm. I'm calm. De-escalation. So I need you to calm. Exactly.
Yeah.
De-escalation.
So if I can do that at any given moment, and I am required by law to do that. If I don't do that, I go before the board. I lose my job. I possibly go to jail. Why you different? It's your job to serve and protect. It's your job to be put out there. Well, no, because they the slave catchers. Like I said before.
That's what I'm saying.
How can we expect any entity? How can we expect anything that was designed for a deficit to be a benefit? It makes no sense. As indulging in drugs, even the drug game, I said it myself. It makes no sense to even like go forth in there because it's too much altering you have to do to yourself. Is that money really worth, like Marco always told me, when you selling coke, don't sell cocaine because you got to deal with a different breed of clientele. You know why? Because if you ain't willing to stay up 24/7 to make your money and go 2-3 days, 3 weeks without making the deal, sitting on dope, don't do it. Still wondering how the fuck you gonna pay your bills, but you got all this work, but ain't no customers. And you might run across, and you just hoping you run across that good customer that like to spend and to fuck around and get high as hell and drop $500 on the product, especially if it's good. Like, is you willing to do that? Then no, don't do it. Don't put yourself out there. Like, it's not set up for you. Does it really sound like a benefit? And then on top of that, all your money automatically goes into Rio. So even if your ass is broker than a motherfucker and you got $500, bitch, you can't spend it because you got to go Rio to make sure you get some money. So you can't even. That's like bill money. You can't touch that.
Speaking of,
can we finish watching the video?
Yeah, I get ready to say I was going to respectfully ask Peace Johnson because it was.
Yeah. I was like, that's why I said I'm good enough to like just go.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna glance off when it happened, but
I would tell that to anybody.
I'm not gonna make a call to arms.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna make a call to arms. So everybody start whooping cops' ass. But
I wanted to ask him, but I would do that for anybody on the show. If y'all feel like it makes y'all too uncomfortable to watch, I will respectfully not continue to play it. But I was going to ask that.
I will let you know. I'll let you know. Just for me, I speak for those that feel passionate about that, and I'm just speaking for them.
Right.
It still needs to be shown.
Yeah. So we go.
Be honest. I may not look at the moment.
I got
that feel like a horror movie.
So the second half of the show is presented by Real Chat Boy Popcorn. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and visit. Get 12 of their great flavors and flavors, as well as cheesy pizza. But as well as if you're in the local area, get their What Up Dog, and as well as their Popo Dog. Give it a try. And also
tell them Beach Johnson said franchise. Go in the building and tell Beach Johnson from the podcast said franchise.
And then also try their lemonade. Their blueberry pineapple is to die for. That's Real Cheddar Boy Popcorn.com. So let's go ahead and finish this video.
I know. Man, hey, get out of the street for me. Get out of the street. Get out of the street for me. Just stand out of the street.
I want my dad.
It might be easier this.
I want my dad.
Car out here.
I want my dad. I want my dad.
Take a breath. You're all right. Stop.
Can I just see my dad, please? I want my dad. Wait, can I just please get the snow off of me?
I'll get the snow off.
It's cold.
The car. You've had your chance. Get in the car now. Okay. Okay. You've had your chances.
What
are you doing? What are you doing?
I want my.
You're gonna go to jail now.
I want my dad. Wait.
Can't fucking arrest no child without no.
For the last time. I want my dad.
Get in the car.
I demand it.
I don't care what you demand. Let's go.
She's got her leg underneath my car.
Stop! I want my dad. I want my dad.
Stop! Or you're gonna get yourself hurt.
Stop! He's hurting me. I want to. Oh my God!
Hey, get in the car.
Please help someone. Stop!
How many grab it from the other side?
I want my dad. Stop! Stop!
Sit up.
No!
You're acting like a
I
child.
want to
Stop.
I am a child. The fuck?
Let's go back to the house.
I have a bad
Stand up. Stand up.
Yeah, let
I have a
Stand
bad
up.
arm.
Then stand up.
Get up. Come on.
I want my dad.
Come on.
And the purpose is
I'm
not
a
showing that.
Officer.
Stand up. Stand up.
Officer. I'm right here.
You're gonna get sprayed.
I want a girl officer.
Stand up.
I want a girl. Please don't stand up for me.
Okay, they'll get off of you if you have to get up, okay? Will you get up? Can you let go of her? I got her. I got her. Come on. I will. They will let go, but you gotta stand up. Stand up. Will you stand up for me? Will you stand? Hey, look at me. Stand up.
I can't the way I'm sitting.
Ready? Yep. Good job.
A little
One more.
more.
My
A little bit more.
Look. Good. There you go.
He's pulling so hard.
It's okay. I know. Go ahead.
Are you
Sit
gonna?
back for her. Sit back for him. Okay?
I'll let go if you're gonna
Sit back
be. If you're
for
gonna
her so
stop.
he doesn't pull you, okay?
I want my dad.
I'll find your dad, okay? You need to sit back. Put your foot here.
No, I want my
I'm
dad.
gonna get your dad, okay? But you need to get warm, otherwise you're gonna get hypothermia. So sit back, okay? I'll get your dad, I promise.
My dad.
Is he here?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll find him, okay? But you, hey, look at me. I can't find your dad until you sit back and I can close the door, okay? I will find your dad, so sit back. I promise. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Don't look anywhere else. I
Get in
promise.
the car.
Okay?
I'm done telling you. Get
This
in
is
the
it.
car.
This is it.
Get back in the car
You
then.
gotta sit back.
Too hard.
You won't do it if you sit back. Come on.
What the heck?
We'll fix them once you sit in the car.
I want my dad.
Come on. I'm gonna finish for you and I don't want to. Sit back. Then sit back. Come on.
I want
This is your last chance, otherwise pepper spray's going in your eyeballs. Come on, let's go. Come on. I'm gonna go get him. Now sit back. Come on.
She just said twice. She said she didn't. She said she knows she gonna get her dad. She don't know where her dad is.
She said she didn't know where he was.
Yeah.
Some bullshit.
Last chance. I'm going to go get
Well,
your
who
dad.
said that? The girl or the police officer?
The police officer.
I will call him. Sit back.
I don't even know if that's supposed to be a female officer.
Yeah, it's a female officer.
Okay, then her ass should have been the one to stay there, and they should have sent the aggressive motherfucker on. That de-escalates the situation, and she stops fucking crying.
Sit back.
Here, like,
She called the
just stop
tag
for a
out,
second.
dumbass.
Hey, just stop.
Look, my dog ain't even watching this, but he feel my energy. He getting aggressive over here.
Just spray her.
Calm down, sir. I'm trying to calm down.
At this point.
Hold up.
Here. I got her. I got her.
Oh, this
One,
shit for a
two,
fucking
three, four.
9-year-old? Like, kiss my goddamn ass, man. Like, I'm sorry for
This-
my language, but
No.
I refuse to
Okay.
be so
First of
far
all,
away.
she kept saying, I want my dad. They never said, well, where is your father? What's his telephone number? What's his address? They never asked her anything to give her any confidence that they will follow through on what they said they were going to do. We're talking about a child here. The lady was a little less aggressive, but then she still didn't ask the right questions. Like, where is your father? What is his telephone number?
She
Let us write it down. Instead
As a
of
woman,
grabbing
she
the
could have been the one to send
pencil
everybody
and
out.
pad, they grabbed the pepper spray.
This is the one of the most crazy. But see, this is the American police system right here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, a lot of y'all gonna
Fuck
come
12.
up on here,
I say it like that.
or who's gonna watch this? Not all police officers are like this. Well, we're happy to all those police officers that put a stop to this. You
The
saw
police
in
officers that aren't no, they were right there, just like with
Yeah,
George Floyd. The police officers that aren't like that, they were right there. That female, that was the police officer you're speaking about. She's not like that because she was trying to calm them down, but she still allowed that bullshit. And why the fuck was the other dudes there? They was just standing around like they was waiting on the game, man. Like, what the fuck was that type of shit going on?
And the sad thing is, out of all these, you would see one brother or one sister that just walk around like, I don't know what's going on. You know, I'm just here. I'm officer, just like y'all are. That's not me. But see, it goes back to.
But even a pedestrian was walking down the street, and then that street looked like my city right now, filled with snow. And it's common knowledge when it's the only streets that have salt on it. That's where you're gonna walk, because on the sidewalk is nothing but ice. This is just a passerby, probably coming from the corner store, bus stop, coming from somewhere, going to their house, and the police officer is going to tell them to get out of the street because what they knew they were doing something wrong. And they knew they were doing something wrong. They're going to stop a pedestrian from walking down the street because they didn't want them to get close enough to see that they were manhandling and abusing a 9-year-old girl who they refused to contact her parents. And I want to know from any police officer, what the fuck is the rush?
No, you're right.
You said it.
You said it.
You just feeling my energy.
I put you.
I'm trying my best to keep my gentleman about myself.
Yeah. But I'll put you like this. For any officer that's watching this, I hope it's the most hardcore officer.
I dare you. I dare you to fight. I dare you. Double dog dare you to defend that bullshit.
I'm going to get to that point. I want the most hardcore police officer that believes that police officers, we die too in the streets too. It's real out here on the field that has a Blue Lives Matter flag on your truck. You don't have a car, a truck, and just drive around and you just take pride in what you do and you just think Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. I'm talking to you. Explain that. This is why we hate you. This is why we dislike you. This is why some of us do celebrate when they hear a death of a police officer. I'm gonna be blunt. I'm gonna be for real. I'm gonna be for real with this. This is why when anytime people wants to protest about Black Lives Matter being a terrorist organization, and they show that video of one of the marchers said "burn them like bacon," and I'm sitting back and I was like, can you blame them? If you do wrong, you just think people just going to forget about it just because you are trained to protect and serve, because you're a police officer, you're supposed to forget all the wrong you have done for many, many centuries, not years, not just yesterday, but for centuries. We're just going to forget because our taxpayer dollars goes into your pensions, that goes into your salary, that goes to pay your kids' way into college, that put food on your table. So for y'all doing all this crap and doing all these things, it's just sad. It's not even sad. It's a reality. And for people that sit there and try to work with these folks, to work with you, it's very hard. And it's very sad. I wish I had the video. It was this one sister who said, I'm paraphrasing what she said at the end of the video, where she said she's lucky Black people are just looking for civil rights rather than for revenge. And she's right.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about...
Because I was built for revenge.
Right. I mean, y'all go to Black churches, talk to the preachers, and y'all don't say it like this, but how y'all really want to say it is be like, hey, boy, you need to take control of your people. Not your congregation. Well, they say take control of your congregation, but in their terms, take control of your people. Because they acting very hectic and they acting very disrespectful. Tell them to know their place. Tell them to, when the police come around, to show some damn respect. And unfortunately, majority of these preachers, definitely these Southern preachers, below the George Mason Dixie line, even though I probably butchered that, but you know, the Mason Dixie line, all those Southern Baptist Church brothers and sisters listen to these chiefs, listen to these officers, and have them all come together in church, all the congregations, with the parents sitting with their sons or their daughter with these bruises on their faces and making them hug it out and saying, "Oh, I forgive you. Everything's all great. Everything is water under the bridge."
Jesus teaches us.
Right. And then
Forgiveness.
everybody get together and let's all just pray that everything's okay again. And you want to know the sad part is, majority of those officers that commit those crimes are either not there, or if they there, the next day or give it about a week or two, they up to no good once again, and the same cycle over and over.
Next day, we talking about later that day. As soon as they leave that church, they talking shit. As soon as they hop in the car,
and this is why I say they get some type of thrill from it. They get some type of like drive from it. It's just like the bully.
It's
bullying on his prey, because they know
it's more than
that he's not going to do nothing back. Yeah, he's not going to do nothing back to him or her.
It's on some BDSM type stuff, because they get paid for, like, you're paying me to abuse people, and they can't do anything about it.
It's poking the bear. But unfortunately, with this bear, you're not getting the biggest and baddest bear. You're getting the baby bear. You're poking the baby bear that don't know how to fight. The baby bear's scared. I'm gonna keep poking at you. Keep poking at you. Maybe sometime I'm just gonna hit you in the head. But police officers, this is what
I would like to know. Why were they arresting her?
I was gonna get
and that's another thing too. And even if they had a reason,
not even arresting her. Why were you interacting with her? Why were you interacting with this individual child at that moment? This child out in the snow by them damn selves. Why did you feel the need to approach them? What situation happened earlier that led that? Because she had nothing on her. Cause just going from what we see, apparently she had nothing on her, because there was no discussion of any items. So there was no paraphernalia, there was no guns, there was no drugs. She wasn't brandishing any kind of weaponry. She wasn't thieving. So what context, what situation was set up to make you feel as though you had the legal criminal jurisdiction of exigent circumstance to approach a 9-year-old child?
But does the punishment? Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, B. Sorry.
That's to get the point. Like Mayo saying, we gotta understand the context. But just looking at that, it better be one hell of a context. Because just looking at the video, we see no paraphernalia, we see no items.
See no gun.
Like I said, no items at all. So any obvious criminal attack, no possession with intent, possession with intent to brandish. None of that goes out the window. Larceny out the window.
Her Miranda rights. We didn't hear them say, "Well, you're under arrest for X, Y, and Z."
No. You currently heard them say that you were being arrested and you were going to jail, but she was never Mirandized.
Right. So what if all that was read before the video even started? So So hear me out. So it's obvious that there's overwhelming use of aggression in the video over a 9-year-old or whatever. There's a reason why we have juvenile detention. There's a reason why we have juvenile detention. I mean, there's a lot of kids that can be bad. I'm always looking at the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. Like if this was like, let's just say like I went out of the country or something, I came back and somebody said, "What happened to your daughter?" They showed me this video. Because who knows? Like maybe her dad is in prison. Maybe her dad is right there next to in that house. Who knows? Somebody showed me this video. At this point, I'll be like, give me all the facts before I go crazy. I want to, because and that's what I want to stay calm until I know all the facts. I mean, so I mean, obviously I see what I see, which is like, why y'all fight? Why, to there's one part I'm gonna come in and I'll never be the one that look like I'm being defensive of anybody that's doing wrong, but police officer or not, whatever, like, hey, I worked in the department before I know, like when I was in jail, so when we had any issue with an inmate, and this is not the juvenile, this is like the real adults and stuff, right? Any issue with the inmate, well, we were trained to go in there with force, because if one officer has an issue, you don't want to like oh, let me see how they're gonna fare out, or if the inmate is getting more damage. So when they come in, like there was only 2 that was there initially, I think. So when the rest of them came in, at that point, the way they came in, even though those officers that made it look like it was escalated, they don't know, ain't no telling what they thought that the girl could have done. So they're probably gonna come with the same energy. So when the lady came in, I'm surprised she came in with a nice energy, because if she did well, it seemed like her energy was going to escalate. If she was a woman, this a young woman, she kind of talking down, and she kind of turned up too. So, I mean, the woman, because I thought she was a woman in taser. I'm like, later on, I'm like, she seemed like the woman turned up after she promised her the world about getting a dad. So all I'm saying is that, like when they come in whatever energy they meet the partners in, that's the way they're going to stay at. They don't know what happened before. They don't know, if that girl had tried to grab the gun. I mean, at that point, they don't know, so they're going to come in with that mindset. So that's why I think that the ones that, I think somebody said something about how people are standing around, and you wonder, those are the good ones or whatever, but they're still standing around. So at that point, what they coming in, what they see, and when they see that energy is what they want to keep on. The ones I want to talk to is the first 2 that got there. What got them to the point where they can be like so rough with a young girl? I mean, that's and it's just so. I mean, so again, like I said, it's I don't want to just go off what I saw, but I know that if you look at that alone, it's like, first of all, where the parents and all the things you said, the rights, maybe they read the rights under arrest, and she's just not resisting. And by the time the video was on, I mean, all that, who knows? And maybe they're 100% wrong. So by the time they can show us anything to make it look wrong, like to say that this what predated what we saw, and then I look like a fool for blaming them. But the historical thing is the police has always been overwhelmingly aggressive and egotistical. Like, we got the badge, do whatever we want. You go back in the house, you do this, you do that. It's not peacekeeping. The job is to keep peace, and that's not peacekeeping. The aggression and the attitude is not peacekeeping at all. So we gotta speak out today. It's systemic. It's almost every department. So what's the use of us getting mad at one situation when we can't speak to the systemic issue as a whole?
Go ahead,
well, I'm the opposite. I have to blow off my steam first, and then if evidence shows something different, then I can change my attitude. I can come down. But knowing the history, I have to be outraged first.
Yes.
Because if you're cool, calm, they're gonna get away with it. They're gonna get away with it. They told the person to go back in the house, meaning they don't want any witnesses to what they're doing. They told the man coming from the bus stop or wherever he coming from, told him to get out the street, because what? He could potentially witness what they were doing. And they know they were wrong.
He was walking towards them.
Now,
let me.
I'm saying my bad. I said he was walking towards them. He was actually approaching them when they told him to get. He was walking towards them.
Let me help you with this, Mayor.
I'm supporting what you're saying. That he was walking towards them.
He was walking in the middle of the street, which is common where I live. When it snowed like it wasn't there, people walk in the middle of the street because that's the safest place to walk.
Right. And trying to see what they're doing. He was trying to see what they're doing too. It looked like he was kind of like trying to see like what are they doing with this young girl, and it seemed like they didn't want to see like leave, like don't come look over.
Right.
Here's the thing: when even with context, take it. I want people to understand the passion you see right now is not even from a personal black standpoint. It's from I'm speaking from a professional standpoint. I'm speaking as somebody that would, because I've been in similar situations that have required a perceivably altered amount of aggression or restraint to secure it. Like I've had a situation with a client that was 17, but he was 5'9". He was as wide as I am, but squat and built. Looked like a little stubby bouncer that you see in most clubs. And he had a mean little streak where he would throw things and swing on people and actually rip doors off. He had that type of strength. So I got to a situation where I had to actually restrain him, and we got to the point where I had to have him almost in a headlock while I have his arm, I have an underhook under his arm, and I'm putting all my weight on his chest to keep him from swinging on anybody and biting himself and holding his head up so he doesn't bite himself. Now, if somebody randomly walking in, but I have staff here that sees the whole situation, and we have to make the paperwork for any interaction. If they got any type of physical interaction that would leave a mark, you got to document it. Because if, like I said, if it pop up a couple of days later, question. So camera, no camera. There's context behind that, so I understand that. With that being said, looking at that video, the level of aggression, the conduct of the people, I put that in the mindset of a healthcare individual, somebody in the mental health field, of myself. So what did this client, what did this individual, what type of behavior occurred prior to this that would deem this level of aggression legally acceptable under all forms of laws and governing bodies? What happened? You got, and it has the balance. So if there's an altercation of that says this kid ended up with a broke arm, it has to be one hell of a story logically for them to be like, how did this kid end up with a broke arm? Well, or like, hey, this kid got a broke wrist. How they end up with a broke wrist? Because they got in their feelings about the interaction with another client. Staff tried to de-escalate. They refused to listen to staff. They chose to engage in property damage and punch at walls. They unfortunately hit the area that had a stud.
Right.
And that's what de-escalated the situation. And then we took him to the hospital. That's the explanation. That sounds logical. Okay. Yeah, that could happen. Bam, we see the hole in the wall.
Another issue I have with this clip of the video. This was indeed and in fact the officer's video. That started at a certain point.
And it was angled specifically.
And where was,
because we never saw the spraying or the tasing.
Why the video didn't show when they first drove up?
Yeah. And more specifically, why did we only see the complicit officer's video? Why didn't we see the video of the aggressive officer?
Exactly.
Why did we only see the second-hand perspective instead of first-hand when we're playing a game that's supposed to be first-hand, supposed to be first person? We're supposed to see exactly what happened, but we're seeing it from somebody else's perspective. No, I
know that was the good cop. He like, oh, this is getting out of hand, so I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna turn my thing on. I'm gonna have my camera on for this.
He angled it. He looked down, but kept his head up so that the angle of the camera hit the seat for the majority of it. And you're not going to see, and he made sure he was distant enough to where you couldn't get a good look, and kept it angled to where you couldn't get a good look of his partner's face.
Exactly. So he had a lot of practice.
So that's what I'm saying. We never saw any of those other cops pop up. Where the fuck did the rest of them come from?
All right, so let's just, I would talk about the cop, the aggressive one, but I'm gonna believe we're gonna save that for another time, because I'm going to get into the statements, get into the statements and finally have us have a final thought. But I'm gonna give my take on this, and then we're gonna go to a commercial break because we're about to hit on the top of the hour. I'm gonna go back to. I agree with the dog.
Cujo.
I agree with the dog.
I told you he be feeling his energy. I'm trying to keep him calm. Trying to keep myself calm.
I'm going to.
You know it's some BS.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. I'm going ahead and say this. This really goes out to the hardcore Blue Lives Matter and to the police when y'all see this episode. I want y'all to feel mad. I want y'all to feel pissed off that we're saying the things that we're saying.
Because you still don't feel as half, even a fraction. And I won't even give a point. You don't even feel a fraction of how I feel right now.
Right.
So I dare you to defend it.
So the same way you are feeling with all the things that we're saying about the police, it's the same way we're feeling when the police do this mess. Police, this is why we don't trust you. This is why we hate you. Not dislike you. Hate you. People say hate's a strong word. Sometimes I believe hate.
Oh no, I hate y'all.
I hate you. I believe that there are times where the word.
I don't hate the police. I hate the system. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't hate police in general. I hate those individuals.
If
you mad,
I didn't mean to get in, but I just we can't let the system go because we're part of the system. We pay into the system.
Mel, and
you
you're right.
Our job.
But Mel, you're right too. But at the same time, I hate. I mean, this is why we the police. This is why. This is why you never had no unity. This is why you be stressful when you go home. Who cares? At least you get to go home. The people that are killed because of police hands, y'all fraternity, whatever y'all want to call yourselves, y'all fraternal order. A lot of them don't go back home. Say that to the Floyds. Say that to the Rices. Say that to the Martins. Say that to them. They don't got no son, they don't got daughter to go home to, or husband, or wife. Even good law-abiding citizens, NRA gun-carrying citizens that are not going to be going home tonight, and that their family's going to have to live with that burden, and then you want people to respect you because you're the law? Nobody don't give a damn about you. So when you see protests, every time y'all talk about Black Lives Matter, like I said earlier, y'all like to bring up that one protest, burn them like bacon. Honestly, to tell you the truth, when I see that, I understand where they're coming from. Because if you sit there and you kill people and just get administrative leave to still get paid, or get fired from that department and go across the city county line to get hired again, you don't understand where they're coming from with that? So maybe it's you, as B. Johnson would say when he was talking about Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror. It's time for the police officers to look themselves in the mirror and be like, who are you really fighting? It should not be why you're killing us. Do you have something to hide? Are you that afraid of us? Are you really going on with the J. Edgar Hoover notion of that one black messiah is going to destroy America, like I did Dr. King and Malcolm X? Because it's going to come a time where all the resources that you police officers have is going to be enough. It's going to be a time where y'all going to be like, oh shit.
Y'all gonna shoot the wrong nigga. As he said, y'all gonna shoot the wrong nigga. It's gonna
get real. Come on, man. If they shot Malcolm X and got away with it, I would still say they're gonna shoot the wrong. If they shot, I think they can't shoot anymore. And they can't piss me off anymore.
Y'all thinking about it in the sense of notoriety, in the sense of popularity. It's gonna be somebody that no. It's gonna be that final show. Like, look. It's like knowing you got 2 more miles on the gallon, and you can push it, or you can take your ass home.
Right, but
you at that final straw. They're gonna hit that final straw, and they know that they're at that final straw, and it's just gonna. So it's better to just chill off that mess than the tipping point.
But to end on my point with this, what she said. Couple shows ago, when she said there's going to be a time when nothing's going to be said.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's going to be done. And I think that time is probably more closer than ever.
You want to keep pushing.
Right.
As you say down there, you want to keep poking the bear.
Yeah, you keep poking the bear. Eventually, you keep poking that little bear. Mom is going to hear her baby scream, and she going to come and call, no matter where you throw that stick. Other than that, let's go ahead and do this commercial break. And Beast, it's time for us to go visit your community.
Good. Welcome. For community involvement, I want to talk about actual community involvement in the sense of the amount of knowledge you knew about the community. You knew what you needed to know. You didn't need to know everything about somebody in the community. You didn't need to know all that personal trivial shit that you really don't share about yourself. You just need to know the main things of concern and interest to alleviate concern and spark interest. But unfortunately, in this social media age, everybody wants to get all their information out there. Now, in the sense of community, we're still hidden in the sense of we don't really know a lot about or know what we need to know of our neighbors. I've always been fortunate to where I live at. Anywhere I live at, I've always been fortunate to live around good neighbors. Very conscious, old school neighbors. We don't really know a whole bunch about each other, but we speak when we see each other. And if we see anything of concern or interest to the corresponding neighbor, we let them know, like, hey, people's dropped off a package. I went ahead and grabbed it for you. Or, hey, somebody knocked on your door early when I came home. And they asked if you was around. I told them, nah. I give you a description. Or, I just seen some funny shit going around their house. That type of community involvement. It's very helpful. It's very appreciative. Make sure no matter the actual neighborhood, it's always a good neighborhood. Because it's all based on the people, the individuals. It don't take a whole lot to give a fuck about the individual. Just keep it basic and simple. You don't want nobody random walking around your door, around your home. So if you happen to see that in your neighbor, let them know. Because you would definitely appreciate it if they did the same for you. Especially if it turned out to be something that neither one of y'all, if put in the situation, will want to happen. Somebody that don't ever need to be around your home, if you dig what I'm saying. That type of community involvement is very palpable because if you see what we saw today, that type of shit wouldn't have went down. Now I'm gonna have to be old school and get senior on you youngins. But in my day, number one, no matter the weather, it was just common sense not to have your ass outside alone until yourself. And if you happen to be that way, keep yourself by a trusted or informative door or home. If you're gonna be outside by your damn self, make sure you're around Sister Johnson home, because you know her ass never go nowhere and she stay in the windows. So if something happened, she'll be the first one to call the police. Your parents knew that about the neighbors, so they use it to their benefit to keep your ass safe and make sure that you got to be the adult that you are today, minus the additional trauma that could have transpired if it happened different. Now, that little girl got to deal with a whole bunch of shit now, psychologically. Now, had there been some honest community involvement amongst the parents, just a simple, hey, I know what this is. I know that you're going to, she had no business being out there. But if you're going to be out there for whatever reason, should have been with a buddy. If you happen to be out there by yourself, she should have made sure she would, be knowledgeable, like, hey, scream for my mama, or go to this house right here. Or that house right there should have already been on the peak. The community should have been involved, because there should have been some random neighbor that had been knowledgeable and visible to what was going on and been the main deterrent of it escalating to that damn point. That's what happens when we involve ourselves within the community, when we actually get to know each other. And I ain't saying it ain't being a whole bunch of being friends and shit. It's just being civil, being respectful. Talk whatever shit you want to about them behind closed doors in your bedroom. They probably doing the same about you. That's community. But you just know, hey, Miss Johnson might be nosy, but I know she probably think my kids is bad as hell because they always outside running around. So I could at least use that to my advantage. If they happen to be out there, hey, if you're going to be out there by yourself, make sure you run her house. If somebody get to them fucking with you, at least I know she'll see it. And she'll definitely come run and tell. That's how my parents were, and that's how a lot of parents in my neighborhood growing up were. And it was very easy for us as children to be the reckless rapscallions that we were in the 80s and do the ungodly, illegal things that we did at our ages. But we had neighbors that kept a mindful eye on us, and just in the neighborhood in general. So we knew where to kind of strategically keep ourselves and where to hide ourselves when we were doing certain things. That was the benefit of the community involvement. To go back with Mayo, be saying that sometimes you got to explain and break it down for folks so they can see the benefit in what they're doing and see how something is trivial as acknowledging your nosy ass neighbors or keeping an eye on that somewhat unknown neighbor that kind of puts off a weird vibe and you don't know enough to really be comfortable with anybody in your home around that area. That's going to take community involvement. That's going to take hollering at his neighbors and seeing what's good. But if we don't get back to that, we're going to have further incidences of this. And to the Blue Lives Matter people, and I don't care what color you are, it's a child. So explain to me what was necessary for you to use that type of force on a child. I could care less about the color. This is children. Unless that child is trying to kick you in the nuts or actually stab you, there's no need for that level of aggression. I'll say it again. A swift karate chop to the top of the head or a good mush will get a kid in line. Not a full out mush into the fucking snow, a pepper spray and a tase. So please, let's get back to the community. Let's get back to knowing and being more aware of our surroundings and those that live within it. So that we can avoid type of shit like this and ultimately eliminate it. And now I yield the floor. Thank you for coming to my community.
Yamala, I greet you with hello from the people of Cameroon. We are 15 days away from departing the USA for one of my homelands of Cameroon. And I am an invited guest. And the theme of the festival is the diasporic, which means the diaspora, all things diaspora. And so I'm going to talk about identity, that dual consciousness, that African identity in America and that American identity in Africa. I'm going to talk about some of the challenges that we face as diasporans going back to the motherland. I'm going to talk about how Africans perceive us and even receive us and even reject us. I'm going to talk about all of these things in my paper. As you all know, I am a Pan-Africanist. And what that means is I believe in striving for unity and elevation of all African people, no matter where they dwell in the earth. So as a Pan-Africanist, part of my job is to reunite, reconnect, repair the breach, usher in healing and unity for all African people. You know, ancient Africa had a glory. It had the first system of science, the Dogon people, that could read the constellation of the stars and give very accurate predictions. Timbuktu was the city that the world came to at that time to study higher learning and education, the arts and letters. There's so much credit given to Egypt and Kemet in terms of the African belief systems and cosmology about the gods and angels and medicine and things like that. Right now, Africa is readying itself to step into a new paradigm shift. A paradigm shift that will make them the leaders again in this world. We witnessed a paradigm shift of death with the coronavirus, the economy failing because people were put out of work, and on the individual level, things have been hard. On the business level, things have been excessively hard. And what we're looking at is the crumbling of an empire. So as this empire crumbles, Africa can position itself to take the lead and find its respectable place in the world, similar to what it once has. We can never go back to what it was, but we can create a new and glorious Africa through technology, through herbal medicines, through science, through communications, through intra-African trade, through intercultural marriage between those in the diaspora and those on the continent, through cooking, sharing a meal and breaking bread can heal the breach that was once between us. Saying Yamala in the tongue of the Cameroonian people can bring a warm heart to them and a smile on their face, because we have taken just one word to try to understand them and meet them where they are. These are ways to repair the breach by sharing culture, by sharing language, by speaking each other's language. So, this is all that I have for you. I'm excited. 15 days to the motherland. I know most of this nation has been covered in snow and ice and experiencing below zero temperatures, while Africa is filled with sunshine and sandy beaches and waters waiting for us to come and be a part of that weather. So 15 days to Cameroon. Good night.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank our sponsors from Sky Zone Society and as well as Charitable Popcorn for sponsoring both halves of the show. My final thought is we had a death today, this morning. Rush Limbaugh, he passed away at the age of 70, and I'd like to do this real quick. I'm telling y'all something. I'm gonna be for real with each and every one of y'all. When you do dirt all your life and make millions and millions of dollars, and then life finally catches up with you, and you expect forgiveness, some of y'all are stupid to forgive them. Me? No. Definitely if you made millions of dollars off of people's struggles, making millions of dollars of mocking people, making millions of dollars, oh, I'm just spreading my view. I'm not a racist, but you do look like a crackhead. Or you do look like a drug dealer. When you patronize people, when you spew hate and invest it into the world, guess what you're going to get back? So for anybody who mourning this guy's death, you probably believed in his rhetoric anyway. But for those who felt offended by this so-called human being, and you still want to give a forgiveness, that's on you. But for the rest of us, we don't forget. And even with you gone, you probably be easy to forget that you was ever a human being. And we're going to sip our tea slow. Very slow. In the words of Bernie Mac in Soul Man, when he was talking about his fellow bandmate when he passed away, may he rest in shit. And that's my final thought.
But we're about maybe missing shit. Yes, that's gonna be my final thought. No, just playing. My final thought is going to be know who you are, but know where you at, and know your surroundings. If you expect to get anywhere in this world, you got to keep a 360 perspective about you and shorten and decrease your blind spot. Can't see everything. Use your fucking peripherals. If you don't know what peripherals are, go watch The 40-Year-Old Virgin and you'll get a nice little understanding of peripherals. Nonetheless, if you don't see everything that's going on, how can you truly handle what's going on? Because something may be happening from a vantage point that is definitely necessary to your structure of thought at that moment. So if you're not aware of it, or at least acknowledge its existence to make yourself prepared to be aware of it, how can you truly be prepared? As Mac 10 said, if you fail to prepare, you're simply preparing to fail. And if you're going to continue to live in this world, especially at the rate it's going right now, you better hold on to that mantra. You're going to fall by the wayside. That being said, that's my final thought, and I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves and have a blessed and safe and prosperous night.
Yeah, people. I did not know Rush Limbaugh passed away today. I'm gonna leave that alone. I should not take back on somebody else's final thought. But hopefully, I'm mad that he didn't see what's good about life and some of the views that I see, or take in consideration some of the views that I see before he left this planet. But any soul that leaves, I feel bad for. But either way, the family or whatever. But yeah, that's crazy. I'm still catching that as a shock. I didn't know because I don't watch TV that much. Let me see. My final thought would be to have us organize. Everything that's going on. We are in a government that was not built for us, by us. For us, I know it's for the people, by the people, but we will not count as people. And unless we want to sit down on the sideline and continue to, just sit down on the sideline and continue to worry about that, what happened in the past, the opportunities that we've gotten in our time and in the future. I hope that we try to organize enough that we train our own to not get in there and sell us out. It should not be about individualism. It should be about how we can collectively get out the house and organize. We can re-own our community. Harold Washington, anybody that doesn't know about him, don't feel bad. I just found out about him the last 3 or 4 years myself, because my best friend from Chicago and schooled me about the struggles that I'm facing over here and said, Mayo, it's been done before, you can do it. When the party pushed somebody down, he single-handedly took over the Democratic Party and became the mayor of Chicago at some point. And was known as one of the most prolific leaders in Chicago history, Black history, for anybody who wants to know, because of the Chicago Democratic Party was ran by by the white Democrats who were racist. And what's sad about it is I think that part of the problem is that we've not been able to sustain that Harold Washington lecture and to the of who he was. We've not been able to sustain what he did after he died and passed away. Nobody took over from him and with that mindset, and the party went back into what it was before him. And that's how it is in most cities in America. While we complain about the other side of so I still have to say organize. We can get out of our house and become citizens. Not when we become citizens, it's not just because we love United States of America or white people or other people. It's about being able to organize for ourselves as well. Being a better citizen does not make you selling out to the Black community. It makes you be a better citizen for the Black community and for yourself. So we just got to figure it out. Every one of our communities have civic associations. Who is in your civic association? Who's running your neighborhood? That's the smallest level of government. Each one of us can be a voice in our neighborhood organization, and some of these things would not be happening. Things we see on video, or at least will be lessened if we are voices in our neighborhood. With that, I say good night to everyone.
Wow. We live, we die. My final thought is what we've been saying. We control the narrative. We write the narrative in our community, either actively or inactively. It's up to us. It's totally up to us. So let's take control of the narrative in our house and let it permeate to your neighbors, to your entire block. If all of us took control of the narrative in our house and began to share it with our neighborhood, we can have better neighborhoods. For so long, they have told us, oh, there's nothing good that can come in the ghetto, but then yet they created the ghetto. They created the ghetto with residency laws and redlining that Black people could only live here or only live there. So they create the ghetto, then they get a person out, they say, well, the ghetto are poor, lazy, shiftless, drug dealing people. That's the only thing you can find in the ghetto. And we have bought that storyline too many times. A lot of good things can come out of the so-called ghetto, but we can transform. The transformation is within us. We can transform our own individual homes. We can transform our communities to be the community that we want. We can say what comes out of our community. We have that power if we only take it. Time out for asking permission. Time to just take authority and do what we need to do to make our communities safe. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say good night to you. I enjoyed talking to you, and give us some feedback. Give us feedback, ask us questions, and we may be able to have a show based on your questions and your inquiries. And again, thank you, or Asante Sana.
And that will do it, Teach. Oh, dang, my bad. I was trying to get peace in there. Teacher, I'm sorry. But ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in to another passionate, I wasn't expecting the show to be passionate, but it got very passionate, and I like shows like these. Show. Thank y'all for tuning in. As for Mayo, aka Teach, Beast Johnson, as well as your host, Sound Alamonte Morris, will be back on Friday with a great and promising show where we help you out with understanding real estate and also to make a little bit of money on the side as well. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. We are outro. Catch y'all later. Bye, y'all. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.